Holy guys, I am genuinely worried because not only is the market crashing right now, not only are my favorite altcoins and your favorite altcoins crapping the bed, but knowing what I know, what is about to come next, it's very likely selling our altcoins is the right thing to do here. Do you actually think that that is something I would say right now? Do you actually think that that makes any sense given this hasn't fully loaded just yet? For you, for me, we've got a long way to go, guys. Buckle in. Today, I've got a lot to cover. And no, I'm not Alex Becker. And no, I'm not trying to be. But at this point, I've lost my mind. At this point, based on what I'm going to show you today, more evidence, yes, even more than what you probably already know. Guys, why are we panicking? Why are we so worried that altcoins and Bitcoin is down a little bit right now? The bubbles map is glitching out a little bit right here. But while altcoins are down, and by the way, not down 500 million%, they're down 10, 11, 12% respectfully. Why are we so worried? Most people are still bullish. To put this poll out at 1,000 votes in about a couple hours. And again, most people still are very bullish for this quarter alone. Okay, as a matter of fact, we're still in the greed here, in a fear and greed index. Now, based on charts I'm showing you previously on this channel and based on a lot of other metrics, we've known, historically speaking, in the previous cycles, that before the massive pumps, we've seen fear and greed go from about 80, 90 down to in the 40s, okay? And we've seen this even more recently. So this little dip, this is a buying opportunity, and you're joking to yourself right now if you're thinking it's anything differently, okay? Now, we had this gentleman over here, Baseman. I panic sold everything today, cut my losses now. I'm assuming he's joking, but if he's not, if you think like him, I need you to watch today's video. All jokes aside, we're going to get pretty serious here. I'm going to tell you what I'm personally doing and what comes next, because what comes next will change our lives, and I'm not joking. Could we possibly fall down to $85,000 like I responded to Alpha here on Twitter today? I don't think so. It could possibly happen, and right now I believe this is mostly whale manipulation. Now, of course, we do have some macroeconomic reasons as to why crypto and the broader markets have fallen down today, but I believe this is just temporary. Of course, the markets will eat this up and swallow it whole, and we're going to see mass amounts of euphoria here come in soon. We've seen worse in the past than this. We've got so many bullish catalysts. You are lying to yourself if you think altcoins falling down an aggregate of about 15% just in the last couple of days is anything to be too concerned about. And the main reason I kind of wanted to bring this up and what I really wanted to highlight here today was this particular chart right here. What you're looking at here is a map of the 4-year cycle, and the halvings are the dotted middle lines. And this just goes to show you exactly how this market works. Cutting a very long story short, all right? The market works in these sort of seasons. Yellow, we move across for 12 months here. We kind of go sideways. We have this blue area here, 12 months of kind of moving up before the massive euphoria 12-month here of that massive part of the bull run. This is back in 2018, followed by 12 months of going down. We usually find the bottom at the end of this 12 months. We move sideways for 12, up slightly for 12, and then euphoria for 12. Down, finding the very bottom, again, really eerily here, the exact bottom both times and the exact top both times on this 12-month period. Again, 12 months kind of moving up a little bit, and we have just literally as of about 8 days ago, because it's the 8th January right now, just completed the last blue phase. Again, what comes after the blue phase, guys, historically speaking? The green phase. What does the green phase mean? The green phase means we are about to have this fully loaded. Yes, it's my dirty coffee cup. Yes, I have about 8 of these a day, but it's because right now we should all be locked in, glued to the screens, trying to make the most of the last 12 months. It could end a little bit sooner. It might go a little later, but honestly, I do think 12 months is all we got here, honestly. So again, it could change your life, so pay attention. Now, Bitcoin inflows, outflows are a net positive of the last week, given even this sort of crappy news we've had over the last couple of days here. 21,000 Bitcoin have flown in, some of the highest in the last about 6 months or so here for the Bitcoin ETFs, incredible amount. So guys, I want to emphasize, when you're in doubt in crypto, please take the time to zoom out. Now, I am no expert in any massive field. I'm just an enthusiast in the market. Now, if you are someone who shares the same sort of outlook on crypto or anything, do some more research yourself. Don't just rely on people like me, influencers, so to speak, to get your information and wholeheartedly believe. Use what we say as a basis to begin looking deeper, almost like a shortcut to your own research. And I say that because I know a lot of you, and I'm guilty of this myself in the past, of kind of just following blindly what we say. And what that leads to here is this emotional game where you're kind of like just reading titles and headlines and even articles out there and kind of panicking and making assumptions and being very paper-handish. If you were shaken out of the market now or 3 months ago when we had a much deeper dip or crash, whatever you want to say, then that's a worrying sign, guys. Do some of the research here. Again, I'm going to present some of it more today for you. Like this here, this is the HODL waves. The green are the long-term holders. The red are the short-term holders. And right now we're seeing the short-term holders, which typically do, in the last 12 months of the bull run, begin buying up Bitcoin supply rapidly. These guys have either started to sell or move sideways. This is a great sign, okay? This is a great sign. Or the long-term holders ever so slightly sell off / move sideways. But like I said, we've got nowhere near that sort of euphoria point here in which the long-term holders rapidly sell off and the short-term holders get FOMO and begin buying, okay? It looks something like this, where we have a massive spike here, which we didn't see in the last cycle, but again, that was suppressed because of that big virus and also due to other factors as well. That was a bit of a stunted cycle. I do believe, a bit of a hunch, we see something more like the 2014 cycle here and the 2018 cycle, more of a blow off top moment, and that would be ideal. More steady gains over the next 12 months, kind of like this looked here over the course of time. And better yet, we do have a better visualization of what this may look like here. We are the black line, of course. You guys have seen this a million times. I'd much rather see us slowly go up until about the end of this year than go up, down, and up, because that would signal, I guess, some weakness in the market. But I think most importantly, that's going to scare people like me and likely you out of our bags, because how the hell do we know a 50% drop in the middle of this year is the actual bear market or not? We'll have many indicators to help us, but I personally am risk off. I don't like to be risky. I want to make money and leave and change my life forever. So again, when that time comes, we'll assess that. But again, I'm just trying to give you guys every possible scenario here. It's better we have a blow off top, I do believe, come Q3, Q4 of this year, than some sort of mid-cycle double top, if you will. Now, also the CBBI indicator here, this aggregates a whole bunch of very reliable and accurate indicators to time the top. This is not at the score it needs to be worried right now. This is tracking just fine. We need to see dark red on this line here. We are just orange right now, / slightly red. Now, again, if we look at Bitcoin's dominance as well, just to remind you guys, Q1 in the previous cycle here, where we started in January, we kind of topped out, we came up, and then we came down before chopping sideways. So we had like kind of this inverted cup and handle, if you will. And that same thing, I think, has played out recently. We kind of had a little top just slightly about a few weeks off the start of January. So very, very similar to the last cycle. And hopefully we come up and then come back down again. It'll play out something similar like this. We might also see something a little more akin to this. Again, it could be the opposite way around. We could see something like this. But either way, I do think sometime in Q1 and especially in Q2, like in the previous cycle here, we will find the floodgates open up for altcoins here once Bitcoin dominance begins to fall a little bit. And I did just want to show you guys as well in terms of like moving averages. I did find a bit of a pattern as well regarding when some of these ribbons cross over each other. This is basically the 200-day, the 2-year, and the 4-year moving averages. So very, very long-term moving averages here. And what I found was when the 200-day crossed over the 2-year, what happened was that pretty much signaled the bottom of each cycle pretty much to the exact day. So again, like in the inverse to everything I'm talking about here in this cycle, of course, when it comes to the bear market, we're going to have a pretty good idea of when the lows are likely going to be in. So while we're trying to time the top or when it's possibly time to get out, we're also going to be able to use the same tools in reverse to know when the bottom's in to buy our Bitcoin. We have a full plan and strategy coming up here, of course, in the next 12 or so months, given this all plays out as intended. Now, we can also see this blue line here. The blue line, of course, is the 4-year moving average. We do see in a bear market, this does touch. It actually went under in the previous cycle thanks to FTX. Thanks to Luna and all the rest of it that did combine with the US banking debacle, it actually pushed us under. So we are nowhere near this line. And what I did notice was if we compare the two cycles, we're actually pretty much somewhere in this green box right now, believe it or not, okay? So again, we are tracking completely fine here to have that massive sort of last blow off top 12 months of the 4-year cycle. We can also see if we do compare in terms of time frame, the time frame, like I said, in January here, this is the 4-year cycle yet again. We do have a sort of minor blip before that massive sort of blow off top moment. Now, again, the last cycle here was something different. It was a little weird. I do believe we were intended to have a blow off top moment sometime over here rather than have this initial push. Again, I don't want to get into that specific stuff today. It is important to talk about, but I've mentioned it many times before on the channel. I think what I'll leave it on here before I get into my personal take on things is the MVRVZ score. This is actually one of the many scores used in the CBBI indicator here. MVRVZ you can see here. And this is an important one to have a look at in my personal opinion because as you can see, we've pretty much always had a mid-cycle pump, right? A mid-cycle rally every single time. The last 3 cycles, boom, 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 okay? What does this mean? Well, this shows here a score of 2 in which we usually hit and immediately come back down. The next time we breach this score, you can see here, here, and here, we have a massive run to the all-time high, okay? So this usually happens again mid-cycle, roughly mid-cycle, and it did happen here again roughly mid-cycle. We have breached this. We actually called this on the channel when it actually happened in real time. And again, whether we come back down to it or not, I don't care because again, from this point, we do have that blow off top, which of course we have yet to have. That was the mid-cycle rally. It's all still to come. So ultimately, now's the time to buy. If this didn't make any sense to you, buy now, all right? Not financial advice, of course. You can do what you want with your money. The market could go to 0 tomorrow. It could go to 85K, and that's what I wanted to point out, all right? I'm actually still stacking cash. I don't think the dust has quite settled yet. I think it will soon. So if you have a look, these are some of my recent buys. These are my most recent buys, as a matter of fact. Ignore the near staking rewards here I've added to my portfolio, but I've been buying up Morpho, Near, and Render are my most recent purchases, okay? Now, of course, the guys in the private community can see every single purchase I've ever made and the dates and everything involved with it, but I haven't been buying much, and I haven't been buying recently. I've really been stacking cash over the last month, and that's for a very important reason. It's for dips like this. You want to stack cash as prices go up, and you want to inject that cash as prices come down, but find that floor. Okay, so for Render, an example here, we found a floor back here in about mid-December. You could have done the 40-40-20 rule, investing 40% of your capital here, and then if it fell down even further, I get it, it sucks, but if you do a DCA plan like this, you could have actually put in and waited for a floor here, another 40%, okay? So we found another floor, and then you have 20% left over, okay? So what you want to do there is either wait for lower prices or a rebound. So a rebound might look something like this. If we come up again, you might want to put in 20% over here. Otherwise, if we do continue to go down in this sense, something like this, you can, of course, put that 20% in lower. You will never be able to time the bottom. DCAing is just simply the best possible thing you can do. This has been, roughly speaking, over about a month-ish period, so it's not something you want to worry about in the short term. Have patience, my friend. If I had followed this 40-40-20 rule since the beginning of my cryptocurrency journey, trust me right now, I would have much lower average buy prices, and I would be much, much wealthier right now. Statistically, it just always works, believe it or not. So I think there's 2 clear outcomes, at least right now, and this very much so reminds me of the time where I called 2 clear outcomes back in October, right before the Trump win, in which we were able to buy many of our coins like Injective here, right at the lows before they pumped up. I think Injective pumped up to like $26, $30 from here. Many other coins like Beam did as well. So it's just a game of math and a game of patience. And so again, 2 clear outcomes. You may be different, but personally, I've got 95% of my wealth in crypto right now. I've got 5%, if not a little bit less. I've been building up the cash reserves while we've been pumping here. So of course, I am ready to inject that money. Once the dust settles, that could be over the next few days, over the next week or 2, but I don't believe any more than a couple weeks we'll see before we begin moving up. Like I said, this is going to be a very bullish quarter, at least based on history. There's always things that could happen that might, ignore that fact, I guess, and be different. But I don't think it'll be much different. I think we may be, off by a month or two, no more than a quarter, that's for sure. So there are many bullish things as well. I made a video a few days back on AI altcoins and AI agent coins based on data. We're seeing these begin to spike up, not just in terms of the price of the coins, but in mind share, so interest in general. And of course, NVIDIA has launched a whole bunch of amazing things recently. So this is just even more to be bullish on AI coins in the immediate next 90 days. There's also a coin here called Sonic SVM. This is a coin that I recently spoke about because these guys are working with Injective now to bring AI agents into the Cosmos and Injective ecosystem, as well as the Solana ecosystem. But they're doing more. I'm actually learning about them right now. You guys should try when you can passively to do what I'm doing. This is how I learned the tech behind crypto. I didn't read no fancy Bitcoin book. I just simply started reading white papers. Most of them like this. White paper is very easy to read. And you just get a sense of like what their intentions are and sort of like what their unique aspects are. And this is very interesting. They're pretty much looking to create a layer 2 and therefore layer 3s for Solana. And that's going to help build these. So Sonic SVM is looking like a very interesting coin right now. I wouldn't look to FOMO into it right now, but it is holding up quite nicely since launch. Historically, launches aren't the best for coins, but either way, I'm looking into it as a potential investment into more of the Solana ecosystem, as well as AI agents, as well as Solana layer 2s. So guys, plenty to be bullish about, plenty to be excited about. And look, I do hope and wish you all the best for this bull run. Talk to you all soon. Take good care. Bye-bye.